Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Dars highlights from August 10th, 2020. Reverence for the name. You have Allah, you have the mathal of Allah's light, and you have the heavens and the earth. If you ask, why don't I invoke Allah? There's a problem internally within you. Because you're daring to approach proximity without divesting yourself of your own blameworthy attributes. When you adorn yourself with the character traits of the Supreme Veil, of Nurullah, then you're welcome to invoke the name Allah. If you invoke the name without having divested yourself of blameworthy character traits or vices, you're like someone entering into a mosque with a breath that smells like onion or garlic or wine. You're entering, say, to a sultan. If you're going to do that, at least dress up. Clean yourself up, wash your clothes, put on some perfume. You're entering into a presence, so you learn how to speak and how to sit. And once you've learned the protocol of the court, then you're invited to enter into the court. You're trying to invoke Allah in one day, and we give you the nur as a gratuitous gift, a favor through bay'ah, in order for you to attain elevation, to ascend and rise in your state, so that you can invoke the name Allah someday. But if you invoke it without permission or without having purified yourself, you're a heretic. You become a zindiq. God's folk, they feared the name, and they constantly asked themselves, am I worthy of it? Am I really worthy of it? It doesn't separate from the essence. The name and the named are not separated. Perhaps you'll invoke it in the wrong place. By this I don't mean the market, because if you see the nur in the market, then you should invoke the name Allah. But your delusion and your sense of false holiness brings you to think that you're worthy of invoking the name. Ponder this verse. Allahu nuru samawati wal ard. God is the light of the heavens and the earth. You're one particle of the heavens and the earth. You're one element within the heavens and the earth. And you don't know their borders. You don't know their order, their arrangement. You have no right to invoke the name until you see the nur of the heavens and the earth. You're on the earth. You are taken to the heavens, then to the nur, then to Allah. Allah nur as-samawat wal ard. God is the light of the heavens and the earth. So you go from earth to heavens, to light, to Allah. You go from the ha to the alif. The ha has to come first. The earth, the heavens, ha, lam, then separation between the lam and the alif, then union, wasl, then the alif. All of your work, all of your practice is contained within this verse, and you have to convey and embody this verse with every limb in your body. The pillars of the heavens and the earth are not seen. They're hidden alifs. The heavens are sustained by these pillars of the heavens, these hidden alifs. The heavens in the Quran were dukhan, they were smoke, and God made them into 7 heavens. And the luminous pillars, these a'mida nuraniya, think of them as pillars of a mosque or of a house that keep the foundations of the house erect. They're hidden alifs. They're not the original primordial alif, al-alif al-asli. They are al-alif al-muqaddar. The primordial or original alif is uncreated, it's unqualified. It's not one of the pillars of the heavens. But the pillars that sustain the heavens are the muqaddar, they're posited or hidden alifs. In order for you to understand the mathal of the luminosity of the heavens and the earth, these heavens by which God constructs the heavens. If you see the pillars, God says that these pillars are all vertical and horizontal lines. They're like a spider web, the web of the heavens and the earth. But even though God speaks to us about these pillars, we just see the heavens or space as emptiness, because it's a continuous succession of pillars, of hidden alifs. And we see that union, that state of union with God, wasl, as separation, as fasl. When we see the heavens and the earth as empty space, we're gazing upon union, but we're seeing separation. It's not separation, because the pillars are the foundations of the heavens. Are these pillars far away from us? Are they close to us? If they're close, then is there just one pillar on earth? If all the empty space is one pillar, then does that one pillar veil the other pillars? It's neither this nor that. They're neither close nor far. All these pillars are fine or subtle. They're not seen by the naked eye, but through a power of faith. If God opens your inner vision, then you will see these pillars as interconnected. They're mutashabik and crisscrossing. They're like a cloth. In the cloth, you see the vertical and horizontal lines. And this cloth, you're looking at it, but you're seeing emptiness. But the space out there that you're seeing, where you're not seeing these alifs, it's like having a TV in front of you or a tablet in front of you, and there are forms within that are being displayed on the TV. But the TV itself has a screen, but you're just seeing the forms, you're not seeing the pillar, you could say, of it. And the Quran describes the folding of the heavens like the folding of the scrolls folding up. If you see the heavens as empty space, it's a low way of contemplating or beholding the heavens. If you see the hidden alifs, then you have a status in the rank of the people of Allah. But you're a gnat, you're like a dust mote, or a small gnat, or a little bug. If God says that all of the dunya is like the wing of a fly for him, you know what a fly is. This fly, in relation to the heavens and the earth, is greater, because the dunya and all that it contains is not worth this gnat or this fly. And the heavens and the earth in relation to the kursi, the footstool, are insignificant. So if everything, the heavens and the earth and all of these hidden alifs, are like a wing of a fly, what's your worth? Nothing. However, you pierce through the heavens and the earth and cling to the pillar of the footstool of the All-Merciful, then you realize that you're just mist, and your comportment has to then align with the reality of who you are. This is why God says on the tongue of the Prophet ﷺ that he created Adam in the image of the All-Merciful. That is to say, Adam realizes that the world, the here below, and everything it contains is not worth the wing of a fly, and Adam therefore is drawn to the knowledge of the divine names, and he strips himself of, or he rids himself of the heavens and the earth, and learns the names, and becomes God's vicegerent on earth. He verifies his own vicegerency. It didn't distract him from Allah from that purpose. There's nothing worthy of distracting Adam from the purpose of realizing his own vicegerency. And he practices or focuses on his worship, his istighfar, his tawbah, his return to God. And once he slipped and eats from the tree out of heedlessness or forgetfulness, we say he sinned and ate from the tree. And yet, we ourselves eat from the tree 1,000 times a day. You and I eat from it thousands of times. If the tree is the tree of the sanad, of the initiatic tree, of the awliya, look at, like this tree is the tree of the silsila, and look at what you say about, or what you think about God's awliya. You've eaten their flesh thousands of times. Perhaps you love them, but you don't believe what is said about them. And only God knows how many times you ate from that tree. And then there was a discussion of the sidra, the low tree, the furthest boundary, and the heaven is like one leaf on that tree. And where are the others? And the Shaykh described 7 heavens and 7 earths. It's like a book of 14 pages. And you think that that's it. It's like a 14-page book. But he says you could think of all the cosmos as a multi-volume collection. And if you saw its size, you would be astonished, even though we're talking about it as being a wing of a fly. And yet, this multi-volume collection, this massive creation, if you see the full luminosity of the amthila, the methods of the representations of light, it would extinguish them. It would extinguish the heavens and the earth. There was a question about those who see a cloud in dhikr. This is an attempt to describe the veil of the niche, of the mishkat. Due to a lack of faith, a lack of understanding, a lack of proximity, you describe what you see as a cloud. And we affirm what you describe on your own terms. Because at least a cloud is something that's elevated, and you've described it in that way. Yet the cloud is much lower than the mishkat, than the niche. There was a faqir from Tunis who had a dream of reciting the Fatiha in a gathering with a beautiful voice. And then the Shaykh gave a long comment on the value of performing 24 nawafil per day and 24 at night, 24 subrogatory prayers. And then he commented on the Fatiha. And he said the opening chapter, al-Fatiha, is your share of what has been distributed to the Prophet ﷺ, or it's your share of the Prophet's qismah. You have a small particle or fraction or percentage of the qismah, the share of the Prophet ﷺ, because the Fatiha is described as being divided in 2 halves, one half for the Lord, the other for the servant. And what you get is the servant here, the other half is the Rasulullah ﷺ, and your Fatiha that you see in this dream is your share of his share, or the percentage that you get from his share, with which you enter into the realm of divine knowledge. Because the Fatiha is divided between the Lord and the Prophet, and وَلَهُ مَا سَأَلْ, the servant, or here the Prophet, has what he asks for. And what he asks for is the intercession, the shafa'ah, his love for his nation, for his ummah, these parts, these particles, the barakah in the hearts of the members of his nation. God gives the qismah, the share, to the Prophet, and he distributes it among his nation, alayhi salatu wassalam. So there's a clear opening from God to the Prophet ﷺ, and this bestowal from eternity, from the mathal of Nur to the Prophet ﷺ, is divided by him ﷺ among mankind as a mercy to the worlds. And he gives what he gives, and he distributes what he wills or wishes to distribute from his share. And he represents the divine attribute of justice and equilibrium, and his inheritance from God is spelled out in the 2 shahadas, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, even the maqam of the name Allah, Muhammad, the 2 names are conjoined, and it's shared by Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. We invoke the name Allah from the share of Muhammad Rasulullah, and we take a particle and enter into Muhammad Rasulullah and enter upon Allah through it. As for the Ahlul Bayt, this is how Abu al-Qasim, the distributor, divides his share. I am a city of knowledge, I am Muhammad Rasulullah, and Ali is its gate, Ali is the secret of the Ba, by which you enter into Muhammadur Rasulullah. If you are cut off from the progeny, the Itra, you can't enter, because that's how Abu al-Qasim divided and distributed it. Why and how? That's a sir that the Prophet ﷺ and Allah Ta'ala knows. It's impossible to not have an intermediary, a wasita, between you and the Messenger ﷺ. He is the mercy to the worlds, and where are you within those worlds? How can your particle, your delimited particle, enter into His non-delimited mercy? You need permission from the share, the qisma. You need the mathal of the mathal, the name of the name. He says, Nuruka min nuri wa nuri min nurik. Your light is from mine and mine is from yours. My name is from your name and your name is from mine. Muhammadun Rasulullah. You can't read La ilaha illallah without it. La ilaha illallah is read through Muhammadur Rasulullah, which is read through Ali Waliullah, which is read through the silsila or the sanad of your age, of your time. This is how you enter into the ocean without shore. Entering upon the Prophet ﷺ without a wali will corrupt your spiritual traveling. It'll corrupt your wayfaring. And in a sense, you're placing your station in comparison with that of the Prophet ﷺ directly. You're like the Bedouin Arab, the Arabi, who entered upon the Prophet ﷺ with bad adab, bad manners, entering into the prophetic presence. And the Quran says, Al-A'rabu ashaddu kufran. They're more intense in their unbelief. That's the state of the Bedouin Arab. And they called him Muhammad directly. They didn't say, Ya Rasulallah. They didn't give him that title. And they entered straight in without the proper adab. That's you. You're speaking of the Prophet ﷺ without a wasita, without an intermediary. You're a representation of that Bedouin Arab of your time. A'rab of the time of the Prophet ﷺ is you in this time. They say, Ya Muhammad. They'll say, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. They won't even say, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. And they'll wage war on those who call him Sayyid. When a Bedouin Arab enters into the presence of the Prophet ﷺ, he wants a reward, not love, not divine knowledge. Those are not traits of the Bedouin Arab. They want their rightful due. They want the spoils, the compensation, the reward. As for the companion is seeking knowledge. As for Ahlul Bayt, they are stamped with the stamp of love. The flow of love is their sunnah. It's their innate disposition. It's not an academic discourse. The Prophet ﷺ made that stamp of love their share. And so you enter to the Prophet ﷺ through Ahlul Bayt to grasp the meaning of adab, love, and etiquette in the prophetic presence, and to grasp his intercession, and to enter therefrom upon Allah Ta'ala. This faqir who had this dream of the Fatiha, this is your share to enter upon the Fatiha. You connect your wasl, your union, to the letters of the two shahadas, with nawafil, devotions day and night, until your prayer carpet is worn out. You enter upon La ilaha illallah at night, and Muhammadur Rasulullah during the day. 24 nafilas during the day, 24 nafilas during the night. Each rak'ah, each cycle of prayer is like one of the letters of La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. And you make 24 extra devotions during the day and 24 during the night, thereby completing the shahadas. And you do istighfar without counting, with itlaq. And you practice La ilaha illallah with your limbs. And you bring the shahada in prayer. And istighfar you perform with himma, with spiritual aspiration. And when your witnessing of the luminosity of the method becomes firmly grounded in your heart, and you see it at least twice per week, then we will ask permission for you to enter into the singular name, Allah. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد.